It's 7 a.m. and you've been dreading this moment since last night. You walk to your child's bedroom and your heart is pounding. You are not just waking them up, you are entering a battlefield. Maybe they are crying, maybe they are shouting, maybe they say, "I feel sick, I can't go." Maybe they're curled up under the duvet. Maybe they are clinging to you. Maybe they are screaming that they hate you. And you are standing there thinking, what's going on? What am I supposed to do now? Is this my fault? If this feels familiar, this video might change everything for you. Because what you are dealing with has a name and has a real cause. And most importantly, there is a way through this. But first, we need to break one very dangerous myth. Your child is not being lazy. They are not manipulating you. You are not a bad parent. Hi, I'm Isabella Doyle, a neurodivergent family coach, and I'm going to completely change how you see school refusal. In the UK, you might hear it called emotionally based school avoidance. And that name matters because it tells you exactly what's going on. This is driven by emotion, not behavior. This is not truancy. A truant child sneaks out, hides, it goes somewhere else. A child with school refusal, they stay at home, they are distressed, and often they wish they could go. Let me put you in their shoes for a moment. Think about the last time you felt real dread before a medical appointment, a difficult conversation with the boss, something that made your stomach drop. Now imagine waking up feeling that way every single morning. That's what school feels like for them. And here is what most people miss. This can affect any child, confident kids, high achiever, kids who seem fine on paper. And often it appears suddenly, after a holiday, a transition, an illness. One day, everything looks normal, and the next, the brakes go on. Let me show you what's actually driving this, because this is where everything starts to make sense for you. There is almost never just one reason. It's usually layers. And I want you to listen for your child in this. This is what most parents notice first: anxiety. Your child's brain has flagged school as a threat, not logically, but at their nervous system level. And here's the part that confuses everyone. The stomach aches are real. The panic is real. The nausea is real. But they disappear when school is removed. That's not manipulation. That's what relief feels like in a body that's been braced for danger. This one gets missed often, especially for certain kids, and that's the environment. A school day means fluorescent lights, crowded corridors, 7 different teachers, constant unpredictability. For some children, particularly those who are neurodivergent, that's not just uncomfortable, it's a full nervous system assault. And they often can't tell you that. They just know they need to escape. This one breaks parents' hearts. Social pain. Not always obvious as bullying. Sometimes it's just being left out of a group, having no one to sit with, feeling different in a way they can't really explain. And most children won't tell you because they just feel ashamed, or they've decided you won't get it. Those last two might be hard to hear, and that's academic pressure and changes at home. A child who feels behind or stupid or invisible at school will avoid the place that confirms that feeling every single day. And sometimes it's not school at all. A new baby, an illness, a separation. Your child isn't being clingy. They are trying to hold something together that feels like it's falling apart. And here's the thing. It is almost never just one of these. It's 2, 3 overlapping, each one adding weight, until one morning they just cannot carry it anymore. And that morning looks like defiance, but it isn't. So when your child says, "I can't go to school," what they often mean is something there feels too hard, too much, too unsafe. and I don't have the words to tell you what. So let me show you what this looks like for your kid. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. The physical symptoms: curled up, holding their stomach, saying they feel sick, headaches, dizziness, out of nowhere. These are real, and the clue? They show up before school and fade when school is removed. That's anxiety living in their body. The meltdowns or the shutdowns. Some kids scream, cry, fight, and others go silent, freeze, disappear into themselves. Both are the same thing: a nervous system that has hit its limit. And watch for this one. Sunday evening, the mood drops, sleep gets harder, the complaints start before Monday even arrives. Their body is already dreading what's coming. And here is the part that really throws us parents off. When you finally say, okay, stay at home today, and within an hour, they're watching TV, they're laughing, they seem completely fine. And that's not proof they were lying. That is what looks like when a threat is removed from a body that's been in survival mode since Sunday night. So if this isn't behavior, why do all usual strategies make it worse? Most parents try these first because they make complete sense until you understand what's actually happening. We use rewards. If you go all week, you get, but panic doesn't negotiate. No reward is bigger than what their nervous system believes is a threat. And when they still can't go, they feel like a failure on top of everything else for not getting that reward. Then we turn into punishments, taking things away, threats, consequences. But you cannot punish anxiety out of your child. All that happens is fear gets added to fear, and home stops feeling safe too. When rewards and punishments fail, we turn into force. Getting them into the car, handing them over, crying at the gate. I know this comes from desperation, not cruelty. But to a child whose nervous system is screaming danger, being forced through that door doesn't feel like school, it feels like being abandoned in a burning building. And the research is clear. It often makes things significantly worse. And I want to say something important here. If you've tried all of this, you are not a bad parent. You reach for those tools you had, the tools that work for almost everything else. This is just a different problem, and it needs a different approach. You've been fighting so hard, and you've been doing it without a map. So what does help? Let's make it real. First, get curious before you get firm. Don't say, you have to go, but start with, I've noticed mornings feel really hard lately. I'm not angry, I just want to understand what's making it harder right now. That one shift from pressure to curiosity can completely change what your child is willing to share. Number 2, look for the real problem. The refusal is just a signal, not the problem. It's the noise, a specific lesson, something social. The answer to that question is where the real solutions begins. Number 3, reduce the load temporarily. This may look like a later start, a part-time timetable, a safe space inside the school. Because here's the truth. A child cannot learn if their nervous system thinks they are in danger. Safety first, learning has to come second. Number 4, involve your child in the plan. When your child feels heard, understood, like they have some control, they are far more likely to take one step forward, even a small one. Next, celebrate what others would overlook. An hour at school, that's not failure. That's a child walking towards the thing that terrifies them, that deserves to be named. And get support. And start now. Contact the school. Ask for CAMS referral. Contact your GP. The waiting lists are real. which is exactly why you need to start today. And find other parents who are in this, because the isolation of parents is one of the hardest parts. Because tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. will come again, and your child might still be under that duvet. They might still be frozen or crying or saying the words you've heard hundreds of times before. But here is what's different now. You see it differently, not as defiance, not as manipulation, not as a child who is broken, but a child who is overwhelmed and a parent who now understands why. That changes everything, not overnight, but it changes everything. If this helped you feel even a little bit less alone, share it with one parent who needs it tonight. And tell me in the comments what's been the hardest part of your morning, because I read every single one. You are not doing this wrong. You are doing one of the hardest things a parent can do. And tomorrow at 7 a.m., you will be a little more ready. Bye for now.